Hi, everybody. Queen Crystal King in the building. Just wanted to see how everybody was doing. I was cruising the streets, seeing who was on, and it wasn't much going on, but I did find Lady Nika and her chat, and that was a really good live. The title to my live is Nene, I Understand. And I do understand. People may not realize it or not, but just because you're frustrated with a person doesn't mean that you stop loving them. I believe in my heart that she did everything possible to make sure that her husband was okay. I believe that when it came time to take one for the team, she was the first one in line because that's what we feel like wives are supposed to do. It's almost like when you see your child and they're sick and they're looking at you to make it better and you're frustrated because you don't know how to make it better. So you reach out to other people, doctors, nurses, friends, family. What can I do? My baby is suffering. Sometimes it's not meant for us to make it better, but because we've done it for so long, it's a habit that's very hard to break. I understand when she said that toward the end of his life, he had gotten really mean. When you think about it, and they told him what his results are after all the surgeries, after all the medications and chemos, all the doctor visits, he still ended up dying with colon cancer. It's like you ask yourself, what could I have done? Could I have been a better wife? Could I have been a better friend? Did I reach out to all the people that I needed to reach out to help me? I understood when she said she wanted peace. I truly did. My late husband had so many operations. It was like over 12 of them. And I was there for each and every one. And I would say to myself that I wanted some peace. As soon as he gets a pain or he's uncomfortable, he calls me and I try to make it better. And I don't always make it better. Sometimes all I can do is listen. But until you've walked a mile in her late husband's shoes, you will never know what his thoughts were, what he felt in his heart and in his body. You just will never know. He has a beautiful wife. He has children. He's successful. He's 66. And knowing that he can't get rid of this cancer, knowing that he's going to leave his family, in my heart of hearts, I just didn't think he wanted to leave. I think he wanted for a doctor to tell him that everything is good. Everything is good. You're cured. You could go back to being the man you used to be, but it didn't happen. How did he deal with that disappointment? Did he lash out on others? Did he say he wanted a second or third opinion? Did she offer him a glass of water that he asked for, and then he decided he didn't want it? What he really wants is to be cured. My husband was the type of person that he walked a lot and he drove as well, but he went to the dances, and that's where I met him. We would do the line dances and slow dances and, go back and forth together. But one day he stubbed his toe. And when he stubbed his toe turned black. And nobody knew why. It was because of the diabetes. And once they removed that toe, one toe at a time, they all went. And as he was losing his mobility, he was very bitter. And I did everything I could to make him comfortable. I believe that I honored my vow when it came to in sickness and in health. But because I couldn't make him better, he was frustrated. He was angry. And he would say things that cut me like a knife. But I was told not to worry about that because he's just going through something. Once again, I dismiss who I am. I dismiss how I'm feeling because he's going through something. It was very hard, and I can imagine that it was very hard for her toward the end. She still had to work. She still had, sorry about that. She still had to make appearances. She still had to handle business. And on top of that, her husband's dying. Sometimes people judge people too harshly without without thinking about what they're going through. The empathy that people used to have, they don't have it anymore. And I felt like I was such a horrible person when I said, I'm so tired of this. I'm so tired of this. Through all those surgeries, my husband ended up with no legs. He was upset because his eyesight was going and he couldn't see what he needed to see. He needed to use different apparatuses to help him see. And just very cantankerous, you know? And I just didn't know what to do. Do you argue with him? Do you bust him in the head to the white meat? Do you continue to pray? Do you try to call someone in to help you? What do you do? And sometimes I would just say, baby, what do you want me to do? What can I do to make you feel better? I can't give you back your legs. I can't give you back your eyesight, but I can love you. I can do that. I can love you. But it just got so hard. And I remember she he was doing a video and both of them were together. And she said, you were very mean and very nasty. She had to tell him. And of course, they're sorry. They don't mean it. Those words hurt coming from someone that you love. And again, when she said she wanted peace, I knew exactly what she meant. She didn't want her husband to suffer anymore. She wanted him to close his eyes and just be okay. But the flip side of that is, Lord, am I being selfish? Because he's still going to pass and we're not going to be together. You start thinking about the good times that you had, the times where you first met, the time she found out she was pregnant with his child, all the different things that they were able to accomplish as a couple. All those things flash. And when you see someone who has been so vibrant, so active, and so busy, being lifted out of bed because he can't hold his own body weight, that's hard. That's hard. That's real hard. Greg is at peace right now. And Nene has made peace with the fact that he was going to transition and he was transitioning. She made peace with that. Hi, Bill. Hi, Regina. OMG. Hello, Queen Crystal. Talk about synergy. Believe it or not, I was just reading an article on Greg and Nene Leakes and thought about you and your commentary about your husband, R.I.P. Greg. Hi, Mr. William. That was a beautiful video that you did. The rest in peace to Greg Leakes. That was beautiful. My prayers are with Nene and family. Hey, William. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Tropical. Hey, Kool-Aid. Yeah, I truly can relate. And I found myself getting angry because I was tired. I was sleep deprived. Um, and at this particular time, I was taking care of him while I was going through chemo every 2 weeks when I had breast cancer. You're more than welcome. So everything I did was a push. And no matter what I did, it wasn't good enough. Didn't mean I don't love you. Didn't mean that you don't love me. You're frustrated with your situation. You want to get up and you want to put your shoes and stuff on and walk out and take care of business like you did before cancer came. But it doesn't happen that way for everyone. I know her heart is broken. I know it's broken. And I know the spotlight is on her. The spotlight is on her. I pray that she can handle it. I pray that she can get a therapist or someone she can confide in and not friends who are snake friends that try to record and try to sell the conversations with her. I just Greg meant everything to her. He meant everything to her. Believe me. That man came along at a time in her life and all the life lessons that she had learned, she realized that that was the man for her. And he realized that was the woman for him. When you marry someone, you, well, when I married, I had what would you call it? It was a vision. And my vision was two rocking chairs, me and my husband, just growing old together, watching our grandkids grow up. It didn't happen that way. 5 years later, I still think about that. She's going to be going through some serious feelings, and she's going to be under the microscope. But I know without a shadow of a doubt that was the love of her life. I believe that. He wanted her to make him better, and she couldn't. So no matter what happened, they tend not to be satisfied, almost like penalizing you and making you feel guilty because you're not in the predicament that they are. And they don't mean it. They don't mean it. But it took me years to understand. Years. Yes, all she knew was Greg. I like Greg. He was a true OG. Yes, he was. And I thought he was very, very handsome. Very handsome. My mom was mean when she was going through her sickness, and she was angry with me because I was her caretaker. To me, when you've always taken care of things and you always been the one to make sure the bills is together, you know, uh, all those things that go with running a household and being a husband, he could no longer do those things. You never know. I believe that my husband felt like he was useless, and he was not useless. I didn't mind being married to a man in a wheelchair. I minded being married to a man in a wheelchair that acted like an asshole, a spoiled child. The sharpest, most hurtful things was coming out of his mouth, and I could not understand. He didn't want to leave. He wanted to be okay. He wanted to stay. He wanted to be with his wife. And you can't help but think, after I'm gone, who are you going to replace me with? Even females say stuff like that. You're not going to take my life insurance and spend it on some other woman. He was probably thinking, my God, she's going to be sad. I got to get up out of this bed. My son's going to be sad. My daughter, I got to get up out of this bed. And he couldn't. But knowing that he died peacefully, knowing that he was surrounded by loved ones, I'm so glad. I'm so glad he did. Yes, losing the love of your life can make you feel so lonely. Yes, and it's very hard to let anybody else in. No matter how prepared a person thinks they are in terms of losing a loved one, grief will take its course and time is of no essence. Very well spoken. Very well spoken. My experience, I wasn't able to hold my husband's hand. I had left, and when I came back, he was already gone. The top of his head down to his shoulders and arms were cold, but the other half of his body was warm. So when I kneeled down on the floor where he was and held him, his hands were still warm. He wasn't alone, but nobody thought that when he laid down and went to bed, he wasn't going to wake up. Nobody saw that coming. But there are those days where he was just so sweet, so kind, such a gentleman, catered to my every need, treated me like a porcelain doll. And then when his sickness started coming, his mind started going and it was racing. Where have you been? What's taking you so long? I mean, he was a beautiful man. He was the love of my life. He was a beautiful man. But I found peace because I knew he was no longer suffering. But of course, traditionally, people want you to be falling all over the floor and pulling your hair out and all that kind of stuff. You think you know what you're going to do when that happens, but until it happens, it's just a thought. Our mind is so complicated and yet it hurts when we can't be whole. I have those days also. Yes. And believe it or not, I was willing to listen. I was willing to listen. But the main thing that he wanted, I couldn't give it to him. I just couldn't give it to him. If it were up to me, he wouldn't have lost his legs. He wouldn't be losing his eyesight. Sometimes things got so bad for him, we were running back and forth to the hospital like clockwork. And he never wanted to go to the hospital, and we had to make him go. And then when everybody had to leave, he was angry because he was alone. This story really touched me. I feel bad because I know that when she's out in public, they're looking for that character that she plays. Right now, she's a widow, and that is very hard to say, even to this day when people ask me marital status, and I have to check the box that says widow. To this day, it bothers me, but I've gotten better with it. And I hope that someone can help her to understand that although her heart needs mending, it can be mended. God can mend her heart. And I hope she's able to explain to her son that there'll be no more operations. There'll be no more hospital stays. There'll be no more chemo. I don't know if he had radiation, but no more radiation. Your dad is at peace. I just wanted to come on here and say a few words because it brings my grief back up. It does. She made sure that man was well taken care of. Whoever was working on him was the best of the best. But sometimes, if it's not God's will for you to survive some things, you won't survive it. I pray that she has the support that she needs to get through it. I had to learn to love because I was very bitter and angry with everyone. I was so hurt how she treated me during that time and all the times before. I had to learn to let go of that. And when you learn to let go of that, it made you a better person. It helps you to understand, and you not only have sympathy for other people, you have empathy. And what we're talking about is the empathy that we have for her. Money was not an object for them. But no matter how much money you have, when it's time to go, it's time to go. Had I died on that operating table, my sons knew exactly what to do, but I still couldn't take that hurt, that loss of them not having a mother from them. I made sure that the decisions that needed to be made, I made them so that they weren't responsible for giving any directives for my care. I was so relieved when I made it through that surgery, and I was so blessed and grateful for all the people who were praying for me and wishing me the best. I thank them with all my heart. But when you come so close to death, like I did, you really stop and think about your own immortality. Even someone who's not even sick that's around you, they think about their own immortality. They may say something like, wow, they were younger than me, or they were the same age as me. I will never understand God's will, but I will never stop trusting Him. I will never stop trusting Him. It's difficult sometimes, but it'll be okay. Honey, it's hard understanding God's will and ways. Faith is all we have. That's true. For understanding and peace, joy comes from within. And it's okay to say you're not okay. It's okay to say I need to be to myself for a while, please. No cameras, no lights, no questions. To see them zip him up in a bag and put him in the coroner's van, I'll never forget that feeling. I truly can't help him anymore. I can't ask him, does he want something to drink? Or is he hungry? Does he need me to do anything for him? When they shut the doors to that van and he was inside, zipped in a bag, I just wanted to fall to the floor. But today, I definitely identify with Nene because he would put up a different picture of how he was feeling and everything, and others would see him one way. And then as soon as they leave, it's no longer Dr. Jekyll, it's Mr. Hyde. Sending out virtual hugs to all that need it. Please keep trusting in your higher power and keep the faith. We will all have our own trials and tribulations to serve His purpose. That's true. Some things have to happen. I believe the saddest funeral I ever went to was my 15-year-old nephew. That was so sad. That's a 15-year-old boy in that casket. Hasn't even begun to live his life. And now his time is up. That was something that I can't understand. But it was something that I'm trying to get understanding with. And you never know how much more that child would have had to suffer. You never know how much more Greg would have had to suffer. You ever see somebody, their heart stops, you resuscitate them, you shock them, you bring them back, their heart stops again, you resuscitate them, you shock them, and then bring them back. That's a lot of wear and tear, and Greg was not a young man. He was not a young man. I'm sure he was the type of person that would go and see what anybody else needed. He probably never in a million years thought that he would be the patient. But if you don't accept that you're the patient, you're going to lash out and you're going to be angry and hard to deal with. But you still need the care. So I push through. You're right. Amen, Regina. I still push through. My heartfelt condolences go out to Nini and the surviving members of the family. I pray that money is not an issue. I pray that the people who are around her are genuine people and truly care about her and what she has just went through, because she went through that. The child went through that. All the other children. This is a lot of grieving, and it's going to take some time. But I do remember asking for peace, and I understood what she meant when she asked for peace. When a person is leaving here that way, they make them comfortable and they measure the respiration. And that's how they can tell how much longer you have. I've seen God do some amazing things. I've went through a lot of medical challenges in my life, all my life, pretty much. And he brought me through each and every one of them. But then you have people who pray and say, God, please, please make them better. Please make them better. And God's will is to take that person and bring him up, bring him to the kingdom where he will always be better. There's no cancer there. Then when I found out that I had more cancer that they couldn't see with the naked eye, I panicked. And see, the God of my understanding knows that I panic. But I come back and I say, well, I'm just going to do what I need to do for as long as I need to do it. And now I'm on this chemo pill. But I'm quite sure they tried every method that they possibly could, every method that his body was strong enough to endure. I think his body has had a lot of wear and tear on it, his mind and everything. And to just look down and see the love of your life, his eyes are closed and they're not going to open anymore. That's a reality that's crippling. I had lost faith at one part in my life because I just don't understand. I just don't understand it. Why people I love was dying around me. I was afraid of losing loved ones in my life. And that's understandable, love. That's understandable. But these things that happened around you and to your loved ones, the way you handle it will make you a better person. In reality, I really would rather nobody die. But that's not the way it goes. I would ask God to take me before them. I've heard I've heard of people saying that. I have. But Gail, you're only gonna go when your time is up and not before. So I want you to concentrate on living. I want you to do things that make you smile, make you happy, bring you joy. If you stay stuck in that mode, it's almost like sabotaging your blessing to still be here. Oh, I just had to say something. I just had to. And she's going to be okay. She's going to have her periods where I know I did. It's like I put on something and I say, honey, how do you like this? What do you think about this dress? You like my hair? He would get angry because he couldn't see the dress that well and he couldn't see my hair that well. And out of habit, I would ask that. And I wasn't trying to cause any drama with it. He would say things like, why does she keep saying, you see this, you see this? She knows I can't see it. I don't know, Lord. Gail, you get my virtual hug. Mm. Tomorrow is not promised to anyone. But make sure that you're a functional member of society, that you contribute, that you not just take. Hold on to God's unchanging hands, Miss Gail. God loves you and I do too, sis. That's right, Gail. If you remember things that were painful, find a place to talk about it. And I spend a lot of time alone, so what I do is I talk out loud. Not like I'm losing it, but I have to get it out of me because it's not going to help me being weighed down with those thoughts and those feelings. God is going to pick his flowers when he sees fit, not before or anything like that. He's going to do it when he sees fit. I'm working on it, Auntie. Good, good. Work on it. If we all wake up tomorrow morning, it's a blessing. My insides are still going through a few problems, but for the most part, I'm all right. I have good people in my life to make sure I stay centered. And I have my family to remind me who God is and what he can do. But I also need to be reminded that I can't change what I did not create. And it's hurtful. It's hurtful to see someone you love going through something. It's very hurtful. How is the weather where you are? I am in Philadelphia. The weather is still, it's a little chilly. Yesterday we had the tornado warning and people were to batten down the hatches And they said that I don't know how to say it, the Schuylkill River in Philadelphia was was in a position to be uh flooded from the rain. It rained really hard, and when it rains, my body hurts. My body hurts. I almost feel like a weather vane sometimes. I used to hear older people talk like that. Oh, my knee is acting up. It's gonna rain. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Till I got older. All that I can say is you don't necessarily have to leave behind a bunch of money for your kids to be successful. Leave them with some morals. Let them think about how daddy and how mom would handle these situations. Hopefully, something that you've told them through the years has stuck, and they're going to use your words to help them through, even when you're not here. My oldest son tells me all the time, I know when I'm conducting business. I know how to speak. And he would always say that when I talk, I try to make my words come out perfect, but I'm paraphrasing. And I said to him, there's a time and a place for everything. When it's time to handle business, speak business. No ebonics. Speak business. Look them in the eye, talk to them, let them know you are the person that they need, and go be great. Say that again. I cannot change, control what I did not create. You have to let go and let God trust them. That's true. That's true. But I'm not gonna lie. Some days it's pretty hard. But at the end of the day, yes, I trust them. I was talking to someone and I had mentioned that my husband, when his both of his legs was gone, he would have phantom pains. And the phantom pains, they made him feel like he still had a whole leg and toes and his ankles and all that. But that's because of the way they put the stump together and all those nerves are kind of jumbled up. So we're laying in bed sleep and he has to go to the bathroom. So he takes the covers off and he attempts to walk because he feels like he has his legs. So what he did was he hit the floor like a brick and the whole stump busted open, just like if you were pop a kernel of popcorn. This would happen often, very often. And it got to the point where it was too much for me to handle. But we promised each other we wasn't going to put each other away. And I promised him that and I didn't send him away. But there were many times where I honestly believe that I should have, but I wanted to honor that promise. I'm glad you guys came in for this conversation that I have. Whew, I'm glad you came. I thank you for your input. your comments, and your presence. Regina, but it's easy to say that. But when you're seeing all of this hurt and pain going on around us, it's hard. Yeah, keeping both of you ladies in my prayers. Gail, my love, and Crystal, my love, you have brought joy and happiness to me. And as long as we can meet here, I'm blessed. Love you guys. Love you too, Mr. Williams. If there is one person in this world that has never gone through any trials or tribulations, I would sincerely pray for their soul. Hmm. Hey, Boss Lady, New Jersey, how you doing? Hey, at Crystal King Mods and chat. What what y'all doing up? Oh, I made a title this video. Nene, I understand. Remember the video that you did? Do you think they're judging Nene too harshly? I was just homing in the fact that she truly loved that man, and that was the love of her life. Even when she was married, people will try to push up on her, and who she wanted was Greg. That's who she wanted. And I believe that she made sure he had everything he needed. Went to the best doctors, the best nurses, everything. And no matter what she did, she couldn't get rid of that cancer and get her husband back. So I said that I can't change what I did not create. He did not create that cancer in him. So she couldn't free him from it. That's just like your child and they're hurting and they look at you to make it better. And you can't. You can't make it better. The ultimate decision belongs to God. And remember when I said that, I don't know whether I said it, Boss Lady, or you did, but Nene said that she just wanted peace. This is what she meant. She meant that she wanted her husband not to suffer no more, although she knows that would mean he wouldn't be here with her anymore. She still prayed for God's will to be done with him. I wanted him to be okay, really bad. But sometimes when people live through certain situations, they don't have the best quality of life. And that was a vibrant man. He was a businessman. He was a father, a husband, the provider. And to know that you can no longer do those things can make you bitter, can make you angry. And you do take it out on the person that's closest to you. Because like I said, if it were up to me, I would have given him his legs back. I would have given him his eyesight back. He would have never had congestive heart failure. He would have never had lung cancer. I wouldn't allow it if I could control it, but I couldn't control it. Yes, I understand, Gail. Life is a journey, and the higher power never said it would be easy, but he did say trust in him. Yeah, that is very true. That is very true. I was also talking about how the spotlight is going to be on her. Is she out shopping? Is she this? Is she that? I wonder how much money she gonna get. I wonder what she gonna do with it. I wonder if she got another man already, or was she seeing somebody, or the trivial things. And when they see her in public, I have no doubt that they expect for her to be that character, Nene. And that's the furthest thing from her mind. Like I said, I remember when I had to start checking marital status and I had to put in widow. To this day, I don't like checking that box that says widowed. And it's 5 years ago. Happened 5 years ago. And I still don't like checking that box. But it's a reality. I could just see her looking around like all these memories we made in this house. The good, the bad, and the ugly. The excitement that she had when she found out she was pregnant with a child. They raised him together in that home. He was a stepfather to her oldest son, and then he had 16 children, I think, allegedly 16. And the fact that he was only 66. I'm grateful for my life, but I hope that she can find a support group or something that she can say her true feelings to, because the average person is not going to understand the true feelings that come out. They want to try to make more of it than what it is. Entertainment and fame comes with a price, along with signed contracts. You're right. You're absolutely right. It does. I believe that right now she doesn't want to be Nene. She wants to be, what is her name? Lenethia, I believe. Right now she's just looking for a soft place to fall. And Greg has always been that for her. So now she's probably wondering, where do I go now? Who's going to comfort me? Who's going to be there for me like my husband was? He believed in me. Now, mind you, they had some heated conversations, but there are some things that are not perfect. But one thing I can give you 100 on is that she loved that man. She loved him with all her heart. Yes, Regina, and I believe 6 kids. Okay, I take that back. 6 children. Okay, thank you for that. So it just brought back a lot of flashbacks for me. You know, you got a toothache. Okay. We don't have any Ambisol. Go look in the cabinet and get some cloves and wet a piece of cotton and dip it in the cloves. And I know what to do to make it better. She couldn't make this better for him. She couldn't make it better. A part of me felt like a failure, and I wouldn't be surprised if she wasn't so hard on herself. She may have to be hospitalized herself. I hope that she's able to get the help she needs. Your sleep is not going to be the same. The way you cook is not going to be the same. When you go to do your laundry, you realize that you're only doing laundry for 2 and not 3. All those happy, intimate times came to an end. And you know what? She's going to be all right as long as she goes through it, not around it, through it. and she'll be able to help other women who are in those positions. Even men are in those positions because when we first got married, I was off my job for disability because I didn't know why I would swell up and I would hurt so bad and my joints would hurt so bad. And I was in Camden and they took all these tests and all the tests came back negative. When I went to Philadelphia, I seen a doctor and she referred me to someone. They took one more test and I've been treated ever since. And I thought because it was like that for a while that I had to be taken care of. He would make sure I had everything I needed before he went to work. When he got home from work, sometimes he'd bring dinner, sometimes he'd make dinner. Because, because what I was going through was crippling. God has a way of handling every situation. I just need to be able to trust that his will for me and for my family is perfect. He's at peace. He will find peace. My grandmother was passing from breast cancer. I remember asking God to get her better so she'd be okay. And I never stopped to think what her prayer was. Maybe her prayer was, Lord, I'm tired and I'm ready. You never know. He may have had that same prayer. Lord, I'm tired and I'm ready. Some things are just unspoken. And when you try to manifest it into words or actions, it comes off very hostile, very sarcastic, and condescending. So she's going to have to deal with some things, and she's going to be all right, and she's going to regain her life. Right now, the appropriate thing to do is to be with the family, talk about the arrangements, and put him to rest. You know, everybody's going to have something to say, of course, but I want her to spray her bullshit repellent from head to toe that she don't need to be giving nobody a half a lip during the service. Because I was sure ready to do it. Well, guys, oops, let me see. I hope Nene never returns to Real Housewives of Atlanta and never need to. Reality TV is very toxic and not worth the cost in the end of it all. That can be true. Then you have some people who have to work um, to survive. But I do understand where you're coming from. And I always hated that feeling like when I walk somewhere and they see me and they come over to me and say, "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh, I heard about what happened to Kenny. Oh," and it's like, I don't want to do that all the time. I've already conditioned my mind to go forward with blinders on, to take care of this business and come on back in the house. I don't want you to hug me so hard in the street till you're crying and I'm crying and we're both a mess. But some people don't know how to comfort other people. They just don't know how. But just like when Nene and her son was in the club, she had to go. She talked about what was going on with her husband because that's where her mind was. But sometimes, like you were saying, Regina, when you sign contracts and you get booked for things, and sometimes they pay you most of it before you even do it. And yes, they care that there's a death in the family, but it really has nothing to do with the person you signed a contract with. They want the job done, and somebody's got to do it. Somebody's got to do it. Whew. Everybody, it's been an hour, and I hope that something I've said would help someone else. But they do have support groups for widowers. You can go online and find them. Or she could find solace in a church, a pastor, someone. We thank you all for the thumbs up. Yes, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I do. You can only control you. Others don't know your journey, and vice versa. Always try and be mindful. That's true. That is true. And me, myself, I went through the situation where I thought that more people should have been helping me. But the ones who helped me, obviously, were the ones God were the ones God chose. And I accepted. Until I accepted it, I was angry too. You guys, it's been fun. I appreciate it. It's not one of my usual topics, but it's been weighing on me to come on my channel and talk about it from my heart. Although those last few times or last few days of his life, he was going through something, but she never stopped loving him and he never stopped loving her. And sometimes when you do go through those changes, like I said, he wanted to stay with his family. Otherwise, he wouldn't have went through all the surgeries and stuff that he did to find a cure. But it was God's will for him to transition peacefully with his family around and his wife by his side. So, again, prayers go out to the family, the loved ones, the survivors of Greg Leaks. I pray she gets the help that she needs to get through this. Well, everybody, I'm going to get ready to go. Thank you for coming. I appreciate the participation in the chat, things that you've said. I've taken to heart. And I'll see you on the next another video. Have a blessed night and Labor Day weekend, everyone. Please continue to take care of yourselves and be safe. Thank you, Gina. Yes, boss lady. Our condolences. Love, peace, and chicken grease.